pathetic. Oh.
Hello again, friends. In part 1, we reviewed some of Chantal's escapades in screwing over her friends and acquaintances. Whether it be a friend of 20 years or an acquaintance that allows her to move into their home, Chantal has an uncanny ability to instigate issues with anybody she encounters. Much of what we know about Chantal's relationships prior to her YouTube channel come from her storytime mukbangs. Chantal doesn't just treat her friends as disposable objects. From her own recount of events, we learned just how awful she treats her family as well. We learned a little bit about how Chantal treats her family from Mannequin's expose in part 1, but let's take a deeper look at this family dynamic. Chantal reveals in a story time from June 8th, 2017, that she was a very difficult child. She calls it spoiled brat syndrome, which she clearly never grew out of.
Okay, story time. Let's get right into it. So remember how I told you that I was living in a group home? And I told you a bit of stories about that when I was like 16, 17. I was sent there by my mom. She was a single parent. She didn't really know, I was horrible. She had me young. She had me at 17. I was the only child. Well, I have a sister, but she was so young, And I was the only child for so long. I was 11 when she was born. I was a spoiled brat, plain and simple. When I didn't get my way, I freaked out. That and your teen angst issues, daddy abandonment issues, and the list goes on. I was always seeing a child psychologist. I was put on several medications, whatever, and I think I just had like spoiled brat syndrome.
In typical selfish Chantal fashion, she recalls wanting to stay at her much older boyfriend's house while she was underage. A boyfriend who had a pregnant girlfriend his own age, mind you. Of course, her mother said no, and Chantal never wanted to take no for an answer, faked an unaliving attempt in a dramatic effort to get her way.
I never intended to really do it. I wanted attention. I knew that gave me power, threatening that. I wanted to hurt people. One day I was fighting with my mom about something. I don't even remember. Probably at that time because I wanted to go sleep at my boyfriend's and be allowed to screw him all hours of the night at my age. What parent is going to allow that, right? None. We were fighting. She went downstairs to fold clothes. I came down a few minutes later. I emptied out half my bottle of I think it was Zoloft I was on, antidepressants or something. Didn't work. I showed her the bottle and I said, I'm gonna kill myself. I took half the bottle. And I hadn't. I really didn't. So she's like, what? Are you kidding? Are you kidding? She was freaking out, I said, no. And then she was like, I'm going to take you to the hospital. Such a brat.
This is so much more than being a brat, Chantal. This is pure selfishness. And yes, children and teenagers can be very dramatic and do very stupid things without understanding the consequences. But this gives us insight to the person Chantal is today. She still has no care or concern for what she puts other people through. She only cares that she gets what she wants when she wants it. And it appears that she's been that way her entire life.
So she took me to the hospital. I had the bitchiest nurse ever. Like, ever. She was a bitch. You know what? I think bitchy nurses are just... She was an older nurse. She was probably working in the field for like 35 years. And she's just seen one too many punk kids like me threatening suicide. you know, putting our poor parents through hell. And she was fed up. And then she was like, you're going to drink this. It was like a drink. I think it was charcoal. It neutralizes the drug. And I was like, oh no, what if this, you know, I really didn't take the pills. So what if the charcoal has a negative effect if you haven't taken any pills, you know? So like, should I actually better take the pills? I bolted for the bathroom, and the nurse was like, hey, where are you going? You know, they didn't want to leave me alone. I was on watch by this nurse. She was yelling after me. And I was like, in the bathroom, I'm like, I'm taking the rest of the pills. Oh my God. So in the bathroom, I actually took some pills. Then I thought I'll just drink the charcoal. You guys probably think I'm nuts. I was. And stupid.
This story ends with Chantal being placed on a psychiatric hold for a few nights, and then her mother, in probably the only instance that she held Chantal accountable, sent her to a group home where, again, she finds a way to manipulate her family by running away, calling her grandmother to make her feel bad so that she doesn't have to go back. There are plenty of story times that Chantal has posted through the years where she tells us about how she was a general pain in the ass or a spoiled brat and how she manipulated her mother and her grandmother. But we're going to move on to how she treated her sister. Chantal's father left when she was about 2 years old. It sounds like he was maybe in and out of her life very little. He remarried, had another family who she does not know. However, her mom did eventually remarry, and when Chantal was 11, they had Chantal's half-sister, Nat. Nat has been featured in a few of Chantal's videos over the years, most notably the Best Pizza Mukbang with My Family from September 14th, 2017. You can see Nat's overall demeanor gives off the vibe that she is highly annoyed at minimum by Chantal.
Now, do we have any funny stories that we can tell? No. No. There's nothing that...
Real fun, Natalie.
I can't think of anything.
How about the time you were babysitting your little sister when she was asleep?
I was hungover.
She got up. She went to go to the bathroom. She bent down, squatted in the laundry hamper.
Natalie did that?
Yep.
That's awesome. Before you were born, after the baby shower, your room was full of like stuff that was in packages, and I used to play store. Remember that? Oh my God. It's so good. It's filling though, eh? Like one piece. Do you like it with ketchup? Okay. Talkative here.
After this video, people started commenting that Chantal's sister was pretty and showing general interest in her. Attention whore Chantal could not allow this, so she did what any empath would do. She pinned a comment to the video exposing her sister's disabilities just because she felt like it. God forbid her sister get any positive attention. What an empath queen. You would think she may be a little more sensitive to the use of the R word and how her friend Kathy felt, but of course, Chantal can't be bothered with other people's feelings. There are many other stories out there regarding Chantal's treatment of Nat throughout their lives, including at least one rumor that she attempted to unalive her as a baby by putting her in a washing machine. However, I've spent countless hours looking for video evidence of these stories, and I couldn't find any. Moving right along, most of you are probably aware of Chantal's friend Shannon and probably witnessed this friendship dissolve right before your eyes. Shannon and Chantal have known each other since at least high school, and Shannon was even in a few of the earlier videos on Chantal's channel, such as the St. Patrick's Day party and Shannon's bachelorette party.
This is like the specialist person ever. It's St. Patrick's Day. Do they celebrate St. Patrick's Day in the States? This is Chris, my BFF's boy, special man. You've never had a better boyfriend than this ever. Like ever. I know. Lick that nipple. No. You're way too good at that. That's like that picture of
Shannon was even a mod for Chantal's channel. For time's sake, I'm not going to include every single comment made between the two of them over the years, but I'll do my best to hit all the basics. We jump to August 8th, 2021. Chantal was live talking about Nodder when Shannon appeared in the chat and stated it was hard for her to watch Chantal gush over Nodder and that she hated him. This is what happened. It escalated rather quickly.
Anyway, Shannon, I was hoping, like, you know, I confided in you, and I don't really want to, like, bring it up and bring drama. Like, I don't want to talk about, like, what we talked about, and, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I just think, like, talking about it on here is just not good, and I was kind of hoping not to, so I hope you can respect that. No, but I did tell you, like, not to, you know, what happened briefly, and other stuff, because I didn't feel like calling, you know, I didn't feel like talking about it on the phone, right? I haven't called yet, that's all. Yeah, well, I didn't treat you that way when you were in an abusive relationship, so, and I'm not saying I am, that's what I'm saying. I just feel like true friends don't, you know, that's all I gotta say. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Like, seriously, I don't know. Like, true friends don't go and cause drama, like, in public and stuff like that. No, I agree. Sorry, that's wrong. I know you flip out easy and, you know, like, I don't know. Yeah, it shouldn't be on here. This conversation basically shouldn't be on here. So, is what I'm saying. Because now it's gonna, like, just cause more drama and perpetuate everything. So, but anyways, yeah. Well, it did cause drama, though. No, but you can care in private. I mean, you know. You don't really know him fully, though, you know, just what I told you, you know, and I don't know, I just feel like, and I, you know, maybe I shouldn't have said anything either, because I don't feel like I'm giving up my friends or family. I don't feel like it should be like a me or them situation. It's not fair to do that to somebody, you know, like, it's my life. I'm responsible for my life. I don't feel like I'm in any danger. I feel like you know, like, it's a situation that, you know, like, I don't know. Anyway, I feel like I'm the type of friend that, like, I wouldn't be like, oh my fucking god, like, I wouldn't, like, you know, like, I just let people live their life, and I'm there for you, and obviously, if I don't approve of your choices, I'm not gonna go and, like, I swear to fucking god, and, like, go and freak out, and, like, go and message the guy, and, like, call him a bunch of names, and then he, like, obviously being angry, retorted, obviously, so there's, like, drama going on with that.
So if you haven't caught on to what happened yet, Chantal reached out to Shannon privately and told her that Nodder had beaten her. Chantal then went live talking about how amazing Nodder is and how much she loves him, and overall just defending him against the VIBs who were alarmed by the red flags that Chantal had disclosed so far. Shannon joined the chat and expressed that she hates him and that she wasn't going to sit and chat pretending that he was some great guy after what Chantal had confided in her. What you just heard Chantal allude to was that she did, in fact, confide in Shannon, and Shannon messaged Nodder privately, confronting him about the abuse. Here are those messages. You can pause here to read if you'd like, but I'm going to continue the live stream.
I don't want that. Like, I just, you know, yeah. So maybe it is good to just take a break from people. Like, you know, I don't know. Really? Wow, what? What are you talking about? That Shannon, if that's it's him or me. I've never fucking done that to you when you were with that asshole. So if that's what our friendship is to you, then fine. Like, goodbye to toxic people in my life. That's all I can say. No, I'm serious. Like, I'm honestly, like, calm down. Fuck. Like, seriously. God. Yeah, it's not the place to argue with your fucking friend, like, of 20 years. Seriously. Anyways. Oh yeah, I bounced on you. Okay. I bounced on you? You couldn't call me either? I don't know. Like, it's all my fault, right? I'm not talking anymore anyways. So, it's not the place. Oh yeah, thanks, Shannon. Thanks for saying that he beats me. I love it. Well, I'll never call you again, because, yeah, you're a liar, so... I love it. He's not beating me. Oh, fucking swear to God. I have, like, no real friends. Remove moderator. Block. Fuck you. Hide user on channel. Seriously, what the fuck? What a fucking bitch. Like, you come on here and say that, like... Oh my God. I fucking confided in her in private. Seriously.
There can be something said about both sides of this interaction, but Chantal wants everybody to believe that Shannon just came into chat and blurted out that she was being abused. But that's not what happened. Shannon expressed concern, and Chantal kept pushing on about how Shannon was a shitty friend for caring about her being abused until Shannon snapped and laid it all out there. But that's not where this friendship ends. On September 6, 2021, Chantal again defends Nader by claiming that if he's a bad person for doing drugs with her, so is Shannon, because she did coke with Shannon at her daughter's graduation party. Coke that Chantal brought to a high school graduation party.
Drugs with Shannon too, E.G. I took cocaine with her too in the past. Makes her a bad person? And you don't know the details of that story. So you can't speak on it because you don't know. Right? You don't know the details. Actually, it wasn't that long ago I did some with her. Yeah. I had some at the graduation party, at her daughter's graduation party. Yep.
Now, obviously, this didn't sit well with Shannon, and of course, there was a lot of back and forth about this, but to save time and get through the rest of their friendship so far, I'm going to move on. On January 19th, 2022, we were in the midst of the Crackhead Olympics, and Chantal was embarking on her biggest mission to date, the CPAP rescue. The cops were called, and it was a shit show. However, the cops weren't the only ones on the phone that night. Shannon and Chantal also had a lengthy conversation and made up.
When I was talking to Shannon yesterday, I remember when she was with a certain someone, how I would roll my eyes all the time and be like, oh my God, you're back together again? Yeah, now I get it.
The relationship between Shannon and Chantal seemed to be mended at this point. Chantal even attended Shannon's father's funeral, where she took selfies and raged in YouTube comments, but she was there. However, on August 11th, 2022, Chantal is live and starts complaining that an unnamed friend of hers is having a hard time and having thoughts of self-harm and issues with addiction. Our empath queen couldn't possibly keep this information to herself. She had to share it with the internet. Obviously, it wasn't long before this friend was identified as Shannon, who was clearly hurt that her friend of 20 plus years not only couldn't put her selfish ways aside for one damn day to be there for her, she also had to announce her problems to the entire internet. I asked Piggy, another channel, for permission to use their video of the situation. They graciously obliged. So please make sure to check them out. Subscribe to them if you're not already. But their on-screen commentary in this is just perfection.
I also, like, I have a friend and they are going through a lot of stuff, like a lot of stuff. And like they reached out to me, I guess, like maybe just for help as a friend. And mentally, I just don't even feel like I can help them. And then I'm like, why? Like, this person is a really good friend and I've known them for a long time. So why am I not wanting to help them more? Like, you know, like things like they were like really serious. Like they were like not wanting to live serious. So they're like in a hospital and they're close by and I feel like I should go visit them. And I just feel like I can't. Like, I can't. I honestly have been trying, seriously, really, really trying not to even go to the psych ER myself sometimes. So it's like, and then I feel bad because I feel like her mom and everything was calling me and I'm just like, you know, I even feel bad talking about it on here right now, but it's just been bugging me. And I just like, I'm distancing myself a bit. I feel so bad saying that. I find every person in my life draining. My mom, my aunt, Peetz, my friend in the hospital, everybody is draining. And I feel bad because like if I wanted help from somebody, I wouldn't want them to be like, oh, well, I'm sorry. I'm so like whatever myself. I can't even deal, you know? But another reason is like, and I feel so bad for saying this, but like when I was in the situation they were in last year, trying to pour from an empty cup. Yes, that's exactly how I feel. And when I was going through this stuff last year, addicted to coke, in an abusive relationship, that's exactly where my friend is now. Exactly. And whenever I was going through it, they shamed me, they outed me, they made a reaction channel outing all my stuff. And I forgave them since then, but like I think it bothers me more than I realized. Because now I see them in this situation and it's like a part of me is like, oh, like bitter. Like a part of me is bitter at my friend. Like for being so horrible to me when I was going through that and needed a friend. You know? Guys, I don't want to say which friend it is. I know, but at the time my grandmother died too, so I don't know. I just having a hard time feeling like I'm just saying what everything that's on my mind. Like that's the stuff that's bugging me. People grow apart. It's sad when someone isn't there for you when you need them to be, but it's a fact of life. Yeah. So maybe I am being a bad friend, but I don't feel like I can do any different. You know what I mean? So. Oh, shut up, just wannabes, I know. Goodbye. Or, Reginald, I should say it to whoever I want to. This is my channel. I'm allowed to come on here and unwind and speak my mind. Why are you even hard for me to forget that? Like, we kind of just glossed over it and it was like, oh, well, you know. It's like, no, these things like deeply affected me and like I haven't told her that obviously yet, but I just don't feel like having that conversation right now, I guess. I don't know. You know, maybe I should like talk to her directly about it, but she's not in a good spot and I don't know. So that's just like what's bugging me with that.
Now, don't get me wrong. Shannon is a deeply flawed individual, and she is also deserving of a lot of very valid criticism. But I can't imagine treating someone I've known practically my entire life this way. And this is indicative of every single one of Chantal's relationships. It's all about her, and she will never have time for you or your problems. But she does expect you to have time for her and her problems at all times. Shannon caught wind of what Chantal said very quickly, and she texted Chantal basically explaining that Chantal hurt her feelings. In typical Chantal fashion, instead of apologizing for telling the entire internet about her friend's very personal struggles, she doubles down and calls Shannon a shitty friend. Now, this argument continued on for a long time. The next day on a live, Chantal talked a lot of shit about Shannon, and Shannon would talk a lot of shit about Chantal, and it would go back and forth. However, we need to move on to our final interpersonal relationship, so we'll leave Shannon's part of this video behind with how Chantal herself reflected on it later. This clip comes from Stuff K Said on Twitter. Kristen is really good about documenting and archiving a lot of Chantal's videos and just her typical bullshit. So give her a follow as well.
Address anything about Shannon either. I do want to say, I do, like, reflecting on the matter more, I do feel bad that I talked about her to begin with. I think I was just like at a breaking point and just really stressed out and overwhelmed and feeling guilty that I didn't feel like really like I really wanted to go see her, because I was just like mentally stressed out and thinking about everything of the past and just like, you know, so I guess I shouldn't have said like anything about her so that people wouldn't know her private business right now, but yeah, so, you know, like, I wish her well, but I just am done right now with the friendship. I cannot continue, so, but I'm not going to like keep talking about it. I'm not going to keep it going. I'm not going to, you know, I don't feel any hate. I just what it is, you know.
And now we get to our final subject, the one and only Peetz of my mind. Like I mentioned with Shannon, Peetz is not innocent either. He has a lot of his own issues involving certain fantasy stories that he writes, being unbelievably lazy, and an overall pushover to Chantal in just about every way, plus many other things. However, that doesn't mean that Chantal can't be a terrible friend to him simultaneously. Chantal and Peetz met in high school, lived together, and ended up in a romantic relationship for 7 years.
I met him in a writer's class in high school, and he was bullied, he was picked on, he just seemed to ignore it, but it really got to me, and I thought, you know, I'll just, you know, I like to be contrary, so the fact that he, you know, that all the popular kids didn't like him, I'm like, well, he's probably cool. I made friends with him, I chatted it up with him, and he just turned out to be really cool, and I ended up falling in love with his personality, and he's a very, very smart guy, and he has a good sense of humor. We became really good friends, and at some point, I don't know if it was out of convenience, but we ended up rooming together, and no matter who I dated in between being with him, I ended up always thinking about him and realizing that I was in love with him, and so we hooked up. We were together for like 7 years. Yes, I was really in love with him at one point. I was definitely in love with him at some point, and then just, I think this.
Chantal claims that she fell out of love with Peetz over time and eventually broke up with him and therefore broke his heart. But that's not really what happened. In her own words, she cheated on Peetz with BB. She talked to BB for 2 weeks. Let's be honest, it was probably much longer than that, prior to ending the relationship with Peetz. And she told him that she was not in love with him. She was in love with someone else, and she was going to be with that person.
So, I don't know if it was just one day I realized. I think, you know, it was declining a bit over time, but I just kind of ignored the signs out of convenience, and the thought didn't even want to enter into my mind, because I did love this person as a person, and the last thing I wanted to do was hurt him. And I still have a lot of guilt with that to this day. I still really feel really bad. I feel responsible, and because he's still not with somebody, and I know he's lonely, and that's why I feel some guilt, and I like to hang out with him when I can. But I do like spending time with him, and just because I didn't have romantic love for him anymore, to completely get rid of this person. He's a wonderful soul. Like, he's a wonderful person, and to not have him as a person in my life anymore just because I don't want to shag him anymore would just seem really tragic. And whenever I realized and admitted to myself that that's what happened with Peetz, I was probably, I was so heartbroken. I was heartbroken that I had to break his heart, and I'll never forget doing that, like breaking up with him. It was so hard, because I was pretty much just like, I was like, you know, I'm breaking up with you. I'm not, I just said everything. I said, I'm not in love with you anymore, and I'm in love with someone else. It was very wrong of me to have started talking with BB before breaking up with him, but I thought many times he would tell me, Peetz would tell me, even if you don't love me anymore, I don't know, maybe he sensed it was coming, but he said, even if you don't love me anymore and you wanted to see someone else, I would be totally cool with that. I would be cool with you having different lovers to make you happy. And, you know, and I just felt like, but I can't be in a relationship with someone I'm not in love with. And I don't think BB would like that, you know? So I think that it was very wrong of me to do that, to sneak around and talk to BB for like 2 weeks. And I did fall in love with him in that short amount of time, by the way. It just like clicked, you know? And I just think that I should have broken up with him first. And I definitely learned from that. It's always better to be honest, because, you know, there have been times in my life where I was dishonest, especially with myself more than anyone else. And I'm just learning that it just feels better to just be honest about things, about how you're feeling, regardless of how people are going to react to them. So that's what I'm really trying hard to implement in my life. And I should have done that ending my relationship with Peetz, absolutely. And so I did admit to him that I was talking with BB. So yeah, and I was in love with him. And I was, you know, gonna be with him.
There are probably a million instances over the years that I could show you of Chantal being a shitty friend to Peetz. But I'm going to cover the basics that stick out to me. But feel free to leave a comment with other instances that you can recall over the years. One of the biggest examples of just Chantal's absolute selfishness is when Peetz's cat Timbit passed away. Chantal was live when Peetz entered her room and told her something was very wrong. She ended her live to see what was going on.
Let's open these windows and get cleaning. Oh, hold on. What's wrong? Oh, shit. Okay, I gotta go, guys.
Shortly after this clip, we find out through Peetz and Chantal's community post that Timbit did indeed pass away, and Chantal claims she will be spending the rest of the day and night with Peetz as he mourns the loss of his cat. Of course, that wasn't true at all, and shortly after, on the same day, we learn that she's actually at Notter's and has left Peetz to mourn the loss of his cat alone. God forbid she went one day without getting taken to Pound Town on the meth pad floor mattress. When she was called out for leaving Peetz when he likely needed a friend by his side, she did what she does best. She raged in her community post. Oh, sorry, I meant to say she was grieving, but she needed to eat dinner, guys. Jeez. Now this clip is later the same night.
So here's the deal. I was in a bad mood before I went live, and now I think my edible hit, and now I'm in a good mood. Not a good mood, but I'm not as bitchy. So, I don't even know what to say. I am big mad, Misha. Like, what the hell? You guys are accusing me all the time of being a shitty friend of Peetz. And I'm like really, really good to him. He's not even mad at me right now, so he's not bothered. Maybe he wants to be alone. Like, hello? Like, I was there for him. I brought him there. I was there with him when it happened. I paid for everything, and I was with him after. So I mean, I don't know like how much more supportive I can be. He's one text away, one phone call. Fizz, I'm not feeling good. Can you please come? I need help. I need something. Bye. I would be right there. I'm saying that, Jamie Carpenter, what I do for him, because you guys are accusing me of, like, you act like I'm, like, evil to him. Like, evil. Like, I'm not, I want to say this, like, really, really emphasize. You can love somebody, but still, you're not responsible for their happiness, okay? I'm not responsible for Peetz's happiness. I'm not responsible. And yes, I know that sounds insensitive. He's grieving the loss of his cat. And to me, I felt like I was being supportive. If I wasn't being supportive, it's up to him to tell me. Not for you guys to just be like, oh, you're a shitty friend because you didn't stay a few extra hours, or you should sleep at home with him tonight. Like, he's going to be grieving for a while, guys, you know? Like, and for me, I am grieving too. I've had this cat. We bought her together in 2005, a year after BBJ. I'm grieving too. Like, I was bawling, actually bawling, when we brought her in. And for me, like, I want to relax with my friggin' machine, which is here. And I just want to, like, be grieve in my own way. So why am I being villainized for wanting to grieve in my own way? Do you know what I mean? I'm actually really happy right now. Like, right now in this moment, like, since Toronto, I've never been happier. Okay? And I just feel like, I don't know, I'm just really trying just to not let anything sabotage it.
With everything going on with BBJ right now, I feel the same way you all do about both Peetz and Chantal's neglect of their pets, which also tells me everything I need to know about both of them as a person. You know how some people say you can tell a lot about a guy based on how he treats his mother? Well, I say you can tell a lot about a person based on how they treat their pets. They both wouldn't get any points for me in that department. However, to leave your friend to mourn by himself to go get the green peen, come on. And again, remember this video is to showcase Chantal's behavior. It's not in defense of anyone she has done wrong and to deem them innocent in any way. So, moving on to an incident that actually took place on June 3rd, 2022. Chantal was live and she was absolutely obliterated. Now, the live alone is probably one of the most notorious streams due to Chantal drunkenly singing Pumped Up Kicks while shooting finger guns only days after the Uvalde incident. What we're going to focus on, though, is this portion here. Now, is there something wrong with what she did here? Well, that's not for me to say, but Peetz tells us what he thought about it only a few days ago. On January 5th, 2023, Peetz responded to a comment which referenced a leaked voicemail where Chantal uses Peetz as a weapon and essentially says she will perform an act on him as revenge to Nodder. Peetz responds, "It was technically SA, sure, but at no point has she ever made me feel in danger. So it was easy trespass for me to forgive." Chantal hears about this pretty quickly and releases her own community post addressing this issue, where she sounds exactly like a predator. Regardless of how you feel about this situation, if a friend of mine, someone that I have considered my best friend for more than 2 decades, says that something I did made them feel this way, I would feel such immense shame and guilt. Not our empath queen, she feels betrayal. Now, Peetz did walk this back, and as usual, he raged at everyone, blowing this out of proportion. But I believe his original comment stated his true feelings about what happened that night. If you watched my last video that was released after part 1 of this saga, you will know that Chantal put out a community post where she states she does not support the LGBTQIA+ community. What makes this even worse, on top of the fact that she has repeatedly profited off of claiming to be bisexual herself, is the fact that her best friend Peetz is exploring his gender identity. In fact, he stated his best memory of 2022 was attending the Pride Parade with Chantal. To have someone who is supposed to be your best friend denounce and admonish the community that you are a part of in some weird attempt to satisfy her fake husband would be pretty heartbreaking to me. Like I've stated with almost every person in Chantal's life, I could make a 15-part series on how she's treated Peetz alone over the years, whether it be her repeatedly threatening to rehome Peetz like he's some 20-year-old cat that she doesn't want to take care of anymore, or offering Peetz up as a male sex worker for Nodder.
So, who do you choose?
Whoever first gets me the male sex worker is my number one. Finished.
I'm picking him up right now, Nader. Where are we going, Chantal? I got you a date.
Just kidding, I made that one up. Either way, there is a well-documented history of Chantal just being an absolutely horrible friend, daughter, sister, and person. It took a lot of digging, but with the help of the extensive archive on Kiwi Farms, this is my feature-length summary for you. So, to sum this all up, Chantal can continue pretending the problem is everyone else, that she's the victim in every situation, and that she never does anything to warrant the treatment she receives online. She can delete all the videos she would like, but the internet is forever, and we will always know just how awful she has always been. As someone who has watched the girls for years, this was a fun look back at our Funkle Queen, and I may take some time to give some of these characters, like Peetz, his own deep dive in the future. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you'll give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment with your thoughts. See you soon.
Pathetic. Oh.